So we had another insurrection, this time Saturday night at the Democratic National Convention in Sacramento. And as you know, I've been keeping track of these protests, these insurrections. And this is a story at CBS 13 Sacramento. This is by Brady Halbleib, last name Halbleib. Now, I'm surprised there hasn't been a whole lot of coverage about this. In fact, this is the only story I saw online about this. But it says here, Saturday night's massive protest in downtown Sacramento brought the California Democratic Convention to a standstill, with more than 2,500 demonstrators who flooded the streets demanding that Democratic leaders call for a ceasefire in Gaza. So part of the pro-Palestinian crowd, which, as we know, is an offshoot of Occupy Wall Street, BLM, Antifa, all cut from the same ultra-left activist cloth. Now, the protest originated as a sit-in demonstration at the, get this, folks, the Safe Credit Union Convention Center with about 200 people. But it rapidly escalated, swelling to thousands as protesters called for Democratic leaders to call for a ceasefire. Well, I guess they weren't feeling safe that night. Democrat leaders were in the midst of their party's convention trying to decide on who's going to fill the late Dianne Feinstein's seat. And Samina Hussman, a delegate, emphasized that some Democratic voters stated that without swift action, they won't be participating in next year's election. Quote, a lot of people who are Democrats have lost faith in the party. We need to stand up and say we're not going to stand for this, and we have to have a ceasefire. So the protesters marched down J Street. Now, if you've never been to Sacramento, I've been there 3 times. Actually, I lived about an hour away from Sacramento. Sacramento's in the San Joaquin Valley. Largest city in the San Joaquin Valley, of course, the California state capital. But the streets, many of the streets have letter names to them. So A, B, C. And I believe where they were at was near the train station downtown. Boy, these protesters, they love train stations. You notice that? They love office buildings, train stations. So protesters marched down J Street and converged in front of the Sacramento Memorial Auditorium. At one point, J Street was closed between 14th and 16th Street, leading to a massive traffic backup stretching to the I Street Bridge. And nobody was arrested for jaywalking. Quote, we want to stop the genocide against my people in Gaza, said Adib Al-Zanoun with the Sacramento Coalition for Palestinian Rights. Here we go with another long-ass name organization. God knows where their funding's coming from. Which is a group comprising of leaders of different faiths. Well, wait a minute. Haven't you been chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free? Aren't you anti-Israel? Don't a lot of people who live in Israel practice the Jewish faith? So how could this be a group comprising leaders of different faiths? Just a question here, just a question. For Al-Zanoun, the tragedy in Gaza hits close to home. Quote, I've lost 42 of my extended family. We have all come here to stand up for justice and for peace. Well, those 42 people of your extended family, were they killed by Israeli soldiers or were they killed by Hamas? He doesn't answer that question here. Now, the California Democratic Convention responded, quote, due to circumstances, beyond our control, and for the safety and security of our delegates and convention participants, we are canceling tonight's caucus meetings, hospitality suites, and vote fests taking place at the convention center. Now, the Sacramento Police Department said that they did not have any reports of arrest, no incidents of vandalism, so this was a somewhat more peaceful crowd. Remember, you have to give these people room to loot and riot. Get this out of their system. And we're talking about whether or not they had to cancel Sunday's general session meeting. Now, I haven't seen any updates on that. I don't know if they went through with it or canceled it or not. But I thought I'd share this with you. Story at CBS 13 Sacramento. Another insurrection 21.0. Over 2,500 protesters, what started out as a sit-in, turned into this massive protest, one of the largest protests in California history, to free Gaza. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. You can also follow me on Instagram, #JasonComposes, because I write music in my spare time. or you can find me at X, Culture Confederacy, at Culture Confed1 on X. This is the Culture Confederacy saying peace out, stay safe, everybody. God bless this thing called the United States. And you know how we do it here. This is where the past crashes with the present. I'll catch you next time, and you all have a great Sunday night.